Most people expect markets to reprice all at once. Everything moving together, one big moment. Stocks, commodities, energy, inflation, all at the same time. But that's not how it actually works. Repricing happens in sequence. One layer of the system moves first, then another, and only later does the stress show up where everyone can feel it. This chart shows that sequence very clearly. Gold, silver, natural gas, and oil. All normalized on the same timeline. Once you see it this way, a lot of current market confusion starts to make sense. Let's start with gold. Gold is always the first signal in regime change. Not because it's exciting, but because it's boring. Gold moves when confidence in money weakens. It doesn't need growth, it doesn't need demand stories. It only needs trust to erode. That's why gold repriced steadily and persistently over the last few years. No panic, no blow off, just a slow, relentless move higher. That's capital quietly saying, I want durability before I want returns. Once that signal is accepted, silver follows. Silver is not gold. It's more volatile, more emotional, more leveraged to the same idea. Silver doesn't move first. It moves after gold has already done the hard work. And when it moves fast. That's exactly what you see here. Years of compression, then a sharp repricing. A move that feels uncomfortable to most people watching it. Silver's role is not to lead. Its role is to confirm that the monetary signal is real and to amplify it. At this stage, the story is still mostly financial. Gold and silver live in portfolios. They don't immediately change daily life. That's why many people still dismiss these moves as just markets. But the sequence doesn't stop there. The next layer is stress. And stress shows up first in places where supply is tight and flexibility is low. That's natural gas. Natural gas sits closely to the physical economy. Heating, power, and industry. It's not a long-term store of value. It's not even a clean trend asset. It's volatile, regional, and sensitive to weather and infrastructure. Which is exactly why it matters. When the system starts to strain, gas doesn't rise smoothly. It spikes. That's what you're seeing here. Sharp moves, fast reversals, large percentage swings. Natural gas is not telling you about a bull market. It's telling you about pressure. Pressure in energy inputs, pressure in supply chains, pressure that the system can no longer absorb quietly. At this point, repricing has moved from portfolios into the real economy. But there is one asset that hasn't fully responded yet: oil. And this is where many people get confused. They look at gold up strongly, silver exploding, gas spiking. Then they look at oil and say nothing is happening. That's a mistake. Oil does not lead these cycles. Oil enforces them. Oil is embedded in literally everything: transport, food, manufacturing, electricity, and inflation itself. Higher oil prices are felt immediately by consumers, voters, and governments. Because of that, oil is the most politically and economically sensitive input in the system. So it lags, not because it's unimportant, but because the system resists higher oil prices for as long as it can. Subsidies, strategic releases, production promises, narratives, and so on. All of that delays the adjustment, but history is very clear on one thing. When gold reprices and stays repriced, cheap energy becomes incompatible with reality. Not overnight, not in a straight line, but eventually. That's why long-term charts show gold, silver, and oil behaving like the same asset class across decades. They diverge temporarily, they always reconverge. Gold signals first, silver confirms, stress appears in volatile inputs like gas, and oil follows last, usually under conditions that feel uncomfortable. This does not mean oil goes straight up tomorrow. It does not mean panic. It does not mean shortages everywhere. It means the system is moving through layers. First, monetary trust, then financial leverage, then stress, and finally enforcement. That's the sequence, and this is why expecting everything to move together leads people to wrong conclusions. Some say gold already moved, so it's over. Others say oil hasn't moved, so nothing is happening. But both are missing the point. Repricing doesn't announce itself, it unfolds. By the time oil becomes obvious, the earlier signals are already history. That's why watching relative behavior matters more than watching headlines. Who moved first, who accelerated, who is lagging, and why? This chart answers those questions without needing predictions. It simply shows where the system is in the process. Gold, silver, stress, energy, not all at once, one after another. And understanding that sequence is far more useful than trying to guess the next headline. Because markets don't change loudly, they change layer by layer. And by the time everyone agrees, the sequence is already complete. You're watching MarketVelugu, Light on Markets. If you found this insight useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in another interesting one.